Chapter 52, The Scarlet Ruler, aiming at the ninth princess, the first daughter is birth. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the blood-colored palace, lights stood tall. Those were primordial spirit lights, and each light symbolized a powerful assassin, but at this moment, one of the lights exploded, immediately alerting the presence guarding this palace. Number 30 is dead. Wasn't he supposed to be on standby in the true Saint continent? Who killed him? The voice revealed a hint of surprise, and then it looked over with its gaze. What could be seen in the light was a name floating, Su Changsheng. In addition, a blurry figure also appeared, wearing a starry robe, an extraordinary young man who looked exactly like Su Changsheng. Su Changsheng. So young. Which Saint King is he? Is he a hidden expert from the extreme beginning sect? In the darkness, the voice exclaimed in surprise, Da. Immediately after, footsteps could be heard in the darkness. A young man with a handsome face and dressed in black walked out. He had white hair and looked young, but his eyes revealed a strong sense of governing. There was also a faint aura of aging emanating from his body. Clearly, he was already quite old. Although his appearance remained youthful, the decaying aura on his body could not be concealed. This was completely different from Su Changsheng's youthfulness. The young man was very surprised. Number 30's strength was extraordinary. He was a saint at the fifth heaven, and coupled with his dark assassin techniques, even a ninth heaven would not be able to kill him. To kill him and prevent him from escaping, at least a Saint King would be needed. But when did the true Saint continent produce such a young Saint King? Could it be someone hidden from the extreme beginning sect? Forget it, the existence of number 30 is related to that plan. I should report to the Lord. The young man pondered for a moment and decided to report. Although the heavenly kingdom would not seek revenge for assassins, number 30 was special. Not only did he have good potential and the possibility of further improvement, but he was also related to that plan. He was afraid that something unexpected would happen. Boom! Thinking like this, the white-haired youth formed a hand seal and a terrifying and awe-inspiring holy aura radiated from him, far surpassing countless saints. A kingly aura permeated the air. That was the terrifying power of a Saint King, someone who had condensed the laws of the holy path to the extreme and forged their own path, only one step away from creating their own system of scriptures. The white-haired youth before him was undoubtedly a Saint King, and his cultivation level was extremely high. Buzz. In the void, a black hole appeared, exuding a dreadful aura that seemed capable of devouring 180,000 spirits, even the laws themselves, causing even the Saint King to tremble in fear. Boom. This black hole was incredibly deep, connecting to an unknown place where a pair of blood-red eyes appeared, grand and majestic, making even the stars seem as insignificant as dust before them. Number 3, why have you summoned me? Those blood-red eyes looked over, and their voice rolled forth, shaking the void and causing the black hole to tremble. Master, number 30 has fallen, killed by someone. The white-haired youth lowered his head, showing a respectful expression as he reported. Number 30 is dead. Upon hearing this, the voice of those blood-red eyes rose, a trace of power spreading out, making the white-haired youth feel as if he were in a raging sea of anger, his face pale, and at any moment he could be swallowed up. This filled him with shock. The power of the master was becoming more and more terrifying. Even though he was not far from becoming a great saint, in front of the master, he was still as insignificant as an ant. Great saints were truly terrifying, capable of wiping out hundreds or even thousands of Saint Kings with a flick of their finger. Saints were the top powerhouses in a continent, towering above all and ruling over a region. Saint Kings were the overlords of a continent, able to establish ancient clans. And in a divine realm, they could barely be considered top-tier powerhouses, but great saints, in the divine realm, were the true top powerhouses, known as giants. Any one of them can stir up the world, even take control of a sacred land and become an ancestor, or establish a force within a sacred land. The difference between them is like night and day. Who killed him? Those blood-colored eyes spoke coldly. He didn't care about the death of the 30th person. In his eyes, a dead person was just trash, not worth paying attention to, no matter how extraordinary they were, but the 30th person was involved in the plan. Although not important, their exposure could jeopardize the entire plan. How could he not be angry? Master, the person who killed the 30th person is named Changsheng. I believe it is possible that he is a powerful member of the extreme beginning sect, the white-haired youth respectfully said. He had never left this palace and had not paid attention to external news, so he did not know about Changsheng and mistakenly thought he was a member of the extreme beginning sect. This was only natural because in the true saint continent, only the extreme beginning sect could cultivate powerful saint kings. Extreme beginning sect. Aren't they neutral? Why would they make a move against the 30th person? Could it be an accident? Upon hearing this, the blood-colored eyes also showed some confusion. He had never heard of Changsheng and had no interest in a small true saint continent. As a giant figure, his gaze was focused on the entire Chaos Kun divine domain, and even other divine domains. A continent was not worth a second glance, although Changsheng had a great reputation. In the eyes of the great saint powerhouses, he was nothing more than an ant, not worth paying attention to. Well, a 30th person can't influence the overall situation. When the various forces make their move together, no matter how powerful that 9th princess is, she won't be able to escape death, the blood-colored eyes muttered to themselves. Master, that 9th princess is too noble. Is it too dangerous for her to participate in that plan? Upon hearing the muttering of the blood-colored eyes, the white-haired youth's heart trembled, and cold sweat broke out on his face. Even though he was a saint king, a powerhouse close to the level of a great saint, every time he heard the master mention that 9th princess, he couldn't help but feel a chill in his heart. That 9th princess was the most beloved child of the emperor. Even a quasi-emperor powerhouse or even a supreme could be crushed to pieces if they made a move against her, and the master of our own household, unexpectedly wants to participate in the plan and hunt down the 9th princess together. How audacious and daring. You don't understand, the emperor is about to abdicate, and he is preparing to select the next successor. All the imperial children who participate in this will not receive the emperor's protection. Do you know, this is our kingdom's opportunity. If we want to truly rise and become the top power in the everlasting heaven realm, this is the only chance. This is the path of the dragon. Once successful, our kingdom will become the top killer sacred land. Those blood-red eyes looked over, and the voice was low. Not only our kingdom, but Scarlet Forging Demon Palace and the Celestial Beast Hall will also take action. Of course, we great saints will not personally take action, as the karmic consequences would be too great and would anger that person. However, even though we won't take action, as long as we stop the protectors of the 9th princess, and then have a group of saints, plus a few saint kings, it should be successful. That the blood-red eyes explained. The white-haired youth's heart was shaken, causing a stormy sea to surge, so that emperor is about to abdicate, and in order to choose a suitable successor, he allows his children to fight and compete. To determine the strongest among them, this includes the 9th princess, and once involved in the battle for the throne, they will no longer receive the emperor's protection. The strong representatives of various factions can support a certain imperial child in their struggle, or they can take action against them. The forces of the kingdom, Scarlet Forging Demon Palace, and others are supporting a certain imperial child and planning to take action against the 9th princess. Of course, there are restrictions. Great saint powerhouses cannot personally take action, and there cannot be too many saint kings, otherwise, it would not be a test, but a massacre. After all, a great saint is too terrifying, completely overwhelming for the younger generation. Not even on the same level of existence, this kind of test would be meaningless. This plan may succeed or fail, but for the future of our kingdom, I must give it a try. Those blood-red eyes said lightly. I understand, I will follow the master to the death. The white-haired youth knelt on the ground, respectfully saying. Well, since number 30 is dead, let's send another saint king over. Those blood-red eyes ordered, then muttered to himself. It's a pity that the emperor is still watching. With his gaze, this trial won't reach its most brutal stage for now. This plan is just an attempt, and we don't expect it to be successful. There will be opportunities in the future. After speaking, those blood-colored eyes disappeared, leaving only the white-haired youth. The opportunity for rise. The white-haired youth murmured, and soon his gaze became firm. He raised his hand and called out. =TS. He said in a low voice, "True Saint Continent, Myriad Manifestation City, Su family. Chinga, do you have the means to control the remnant soul of an ancient powerhouse, possibly a great emperor, in a palace of the Su family?" Su Changsheng asked. Beside him, Gu Chinga, with a pregnant belly, had a delicate and beautiful face that showed a hint of maturity. Although she looked like a young girl, she exuded the charm of a mature woman. Ancient Great Emperor. Upon hearing Su Changsheng's words, Gu Chinga turned her head and looked at him with a strange gaze. "What, did you provoke another hidden old monster?" That the ancient era was a long period of more than 1 billion years ago. The great emperors of that era had profound and unfathomable methods, possibly even more terrifying than the present. Even Gu Chinga, who could be called invincible among emperors, wouldn't dare to claim invincibility in the ancient era. Of course, if she were to be reborn and ascend to the throne again, she would have the confidence to be invincible. Moreover, in this life, she was determined to follow the path of the heavenly emperor, breaking through the immortal realm with unparalleled combat power and becoming an immortal against the heavens. However, all of this had to wait until her child was born. This annoying Su Changsheng was always considerate, not caring about her body at all. Fortunately, he had found someone else recently, otherwise she would have been exhausted. Thinking of this, Gu Chinga glared at Su Changsheng with embarrassment, leaving him somewhat puzzled. "Cough, it's like this." Su Changsheng cleared his throat and then revealed the news about the ancient heavenly emperor's concubine who was sleeping in the ring given to him by Miaoyi. After all, it involves the ancient heavenly emperor, whose methods are unfathomable. Although only a wisp of soul remains, who knows how much power and techniques it still possesses. That's not someone like Gu Chinga, who has just been reborn and has no cultivation at all. Once he gains the upper hand, wouldn't he be invincible? Heavenly Emperor's Empress. Upon hearing this, Gu Chinga's expression became strange, and he looked at Su Changsheng with a subtle gaze. "Su Changsheng, you really have the audacity. You even want to snatch Heavenly Emperor?" Gu Chinga sneered. Seeing that Gu Chinga seemed to have misunderstood him, Su Changsheng felt somewhat helpless. He wanted to explain, but Gu Chinga interrupted, saying, "But I admire your courage. You are indeed my husband. I promise, it's not bad to have Heavenly Emperor's Empress as my little sister. In the end, I will also take the Emperor and Empress." Gu Chinga's eyes flickered, and a slight smile appeared on his lips, as if he was looking forward to that scene. Seeing this, Su Changsheng opened his mouth slightly, but in the end, he closed it without saying anything. Well, let the misunderstanding be. Anyway, his image in Gu Chinga's heart has already been formed. Let it be a villain. "Come, I'll lend you a hand." At this moment, Gu Chinga seemed to have returned to the state of the Empress in his previous life. With a wave of his delicate hand, he said with dignity, "Boom." Not long after, with Gu Chinga's help, Su Changsheng manipulated numerous intricate spells and imprinted countless marks on the remnant soul in the ring. A magnificent divine light soared into the sky. An astonishing phenomena kept appearing in this palace. It even attracted the attention of Bai Yuega, Su Ziyin, and others. Time passed, and 3 full days went by before the phenomena gradually dissipated here. Finally got it under control. Su Changsheng breathed a sigh of relief. The intense consumption of the past 3 days had taken a toll on even this saint, depleting a significant amount of his primordial spirit power. However, the results were satisfying. Su Changsheng's divine sense penetrated into the ring, and he saw a beautiful figure floating within it. With hands clasped around the knees, dressed in white like snow, and a perfect face as pure as moonlight, with flawless skin, her beautiful eyes were tightly shut, and a beautiful jade hung around her neck, emitting a sparkling light. Although her figure was illusory, it exuded a terrifying aura. According to Gu Chinga, if Su Changsheng were to hastily awaken this ancient empress, with her strength, she could easily kill him with a snap of her fingers. Although she only had a remnant soul left, she could still unleash the power of a grand saint grade. In addition, as an ancient great emperor, Su Changsheng's current means of control were ineffective against her and would be easily resolved. However, with Gu Chinga's assistance, this future invincible empress imparted to Su Changsheng a technique called the Emperor's Soul Scripture, which was created by a great emperor who had reached the pinnacle of primordial spirit cultivation. The techniques within this scripture were particularly effective against soul entities. Next, you just need to prepare some precious materials to nourish the primordial spirit. along with some materials to condense the physical body, and the reincarnation divine water, and she can be resurrected. As she spoke, Gu Qingge casually threw a long list of materials to Su Changsheng. With just one glance, Su Changsheng was at a loss. They were too rare and precious, impossible to find. We can only rely on the auction of the 10,000 Dao Immortal Alliance. Su Changsheng sighed inwardly. Time passed, and another 2 years went by. During these 2 years, the 9th princess did not appear, but there were continuous anomalies in the true Saint continent. At the Demon Burial Valley, a tremendous anomaly occurred, during which the phantom of a majestic figure appeared. It was declared that the secret realm left behind by the great saint would open periodically. At one moment, within the secret realm, there was a scene of carnage and bloodshed. Countless powerful individuals entered, including semi-saints, but there were no saints who entered immediately. They were still observing, and this observation continued until a semi-saint plucked a divine heavenly fruit and consumed it, instantly becoming a saint. After that, countless powerful individuals, including some saints, went crazy and successively entered. This commotion lasted for nearly a year. The great saint's secret realm opened and closed twice in total, and various powerful individuals gained considerable rewards and brought out some rare treasures, preparing for an auction. The third opening of the secret realm is about to happen. It is said that the true treasure will appear this time. Princess Jiugong should be waiting for this opportunity. In the Su family, Su Changsheng stood with his hands behind his back, his gaze looking into the distance. Then he let out a sigh. Regardless of the circumstances, he would not participate, whether it was an unparalleled opportunity or an extremely dangerous place. However, he could participate in the auction of the 10,000 Dao Immortal Alliance. He had heard about some rare heavenly materials and earthly treasures that would help restore his primordial spirit and condense his physical body. That was exactly what he needed. My child is about to be born. Su Changsheng's gaze deepened as he looked towards the palace behind him. There, Gu Qingge was preparing to give birth. After more than 5 years of pregnancy, his first child was finally going to be born. Brother Changsheng, is Sister Gu going to give birth? Can I give birth too? Beside him, Bai Yuega blinked her eyes, her petite body also carrying a big belly. Su Ziyuan was also pregnant, with a small belly that had only been there for a year. As for Miaoi, Su Changsheng had temporarily given up on her body. After all, it would be a waste to break through her body before reaching the 9th heaven. It's almost time. Upon hearing this, Su Changsheng looked at Bai Yuega and a gentle smile appeared on his face. At the same time, in the room, a loud cry resounded, boom. Immediately after, a terrifying and incomparable anomaly surged into the sky. Chapter 53 The First Child, Myriad Tribulations Indestructible Original Demon Physique, Bore. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Boom! A towering pillar of light appeared, piercing through the sky. Countless visions filled the sky, with surging chaotic energy and countless immortal lights swirling around. In the void, chaos rose, and one after another, azure lotuses took root, exuding an incomparable mystique as they swayed gracefully. Countless immortal palaces emerged, with starless immortal lights and millions of true immortals appearing. At the end of the immortal palace, an imposing immortal king sat cross-legged, his gaze sweeping across the heavens like the great Tao. Azure lotuses of chaos bloomed, and the immortal king overlooked the 9 heavens. One extraordinary phenomenon after another appeared, creating a terrifying scene, and this was just one of many phenomena. What is that? In this world, countless beings and cultivators were alarmed, rising into the air and watching in awe at these scenes. Boom! In Myriad Manifestation City, massive divine formations were activated, emitting brilliant divine light. Countless runes soared into the sky, rotating like stars, creating a resounding sound. Each star emitted divine light, with countless rules and the power of the holy Tao suppressing the myriad layers, but even so, the phenomena remained terrifying, and the entire world of billions of miles could clearly sense it. Boom! Not only that, an overwhelming swallowing force surged forth, drawing in the vast spiritual energy of the entire continent, including the aura pervading the sky and the energy of many dimensional spaces. Like a tidal wave, it was as if there was an unparalleled great saint sitting in the continent, swallowing immeasurable spiritual energy, as if trying to swallow the entire continent in one breath. Buzzing, in various parts of the true saint continent, powerful individuals, numerous saints, and even hidden saint kings turned their gazes, filled with shock. This is bad. If this continues, the entire continent will be sucked dry in one breath. Su Changsheng's expression changed drastically. From the very beginning, he had foreseen that his child's talent would be extraordinary, so he had set up numerous formations and even intervened to conceal the power of the phenomena, but even so, this phenomenon was still terrifying. Moreover, not only were there phenomena, but this child was also absorbing the immeasurable spiritual energy between heaven and earth. At this rate, the entire continent would be sucked dry in one breath. How terrifying was this? What kind of constitution is so extraordinary? Su Changsheng's heart trembled, but he didn't hesitate. His figure appeared in the room, picking up the child emitting boundless immortal light, and then disappeared into the sky. He was heading to the outer space. What terrifying devouring power is this? Could it be that an extremely powerful monster is being born? Impossible. No matter how terrifying a monster is, it cannot be this strong. It should be a breakthrough by a great saint. This phenomenon is earth-shattering, as if the supreme treasure has been born. But that terrifying devouring power is like a living being. It shouldn't be a divine treasure. In various parts of the true saint continent, saints muttered to themselves, their eyes flickering with desire and unease. They wanted to investigate, but were afraid of provoking powerful figures. If they happened to disturb a powerful figure who had just broken through to a great saint, it would be an endless vendetta. For a while, the saints hesitated. I don't believe someone is breaking through. It must be the birth of a supreme treasure. In the world, a black-robed old man snorted coldly, his expression arrogant, exuding a terrifying aura. Without hesitation, he rushed straight to the place of the anomaly, which was Myriad Manifestation City. It's Black Demon Old Man. He's actually so bold. His lifespan is nearing its limit. If he doesn't break through to a Saint King, he will have less than 1,000 years left. Naturally, he is not afraid of so-called mysterious powerful figures. Very well, let him probe first. If there really is a supreme treasure, it won't be too late to make a move then. Saints and Saint Kings from all sides noticed each other, their eyes flickering, choosing to observe from a distance. Because of the opening of the great saint's secret realm, many saints came to the true saint continent, all of them powerful individuals from other continents, hoping to seize the opportunities left behind by the great saint. A bunch of fools. Do they really think I'm unprepared? On the other side, the Black Demon Old Man sneered secretly. Did these fools really think he had no preparations? He was not that foolish. A few years ago, he unexpectedly obtained a treasure that could detect the aura hidden by powerful figures. Once there was a powerful figure nearby, it would be detected by that treasure, unable to hide, but according to his treasure investigation, he found that there was no so-called powerhouse at all. Obviously, it was not the so-called powerhouse who broke through the great saint. It is very likely that a supreme treasure has appeared. I don't have much lifespan left. I must seize the supreme treasure. Whoever dares to snatch it from me will be killed. The black magic old man's face was ferocious, filled with killing intent. As long as he seizes the supreme treasure and uses secret techniques to escape, even if other powerhouses react, they will be helpless against him. Here we are. Soon, the black magic old man arrived at Myriad Manifestation City. A terrifying aura close to that of a Saint King erupted, and then he stomped on the formation of Myriad Manifestation City. Boom! An unimaginable power fell, causing the formation of Myriad Manifestation City to shake violently, almost being pierced through. A small saint formation actually blocked my attack. Seeing that the formation was not pierced by his foot, the black magic old man was somewhat surprised. He was a half-step Saint King. If he used his trump card, he could even temporarily rival a Saint King. His foot strength was enough to injure an ordinary ninth heaven saint, but it was unexpectedly blocked by the saint formation. Who is that person? He almost pierced through the saint formation of Myriad Manifestation City with just one foot. This is definitely a terrifying saint. Myriad Manifestation City has a 9-layer saint formation, but it almost couldn't withstand it. This saint is coming aggressively. Could it be that he wants to destroy Myriad Manifestation City? In Myriad Manifestation City, the faces of countless cultivators changed, their eyes filled with shock and fear. During this period of time, many forces in the true Saint continent have been wiped out, often, tens of thousands of miles of land are devoured and slaughtered, refined into law treasures and the like. These tragedies are all caused by powerful foreign saints, and some demonic powerhouses are even more unscrupulous. Killing billions of living beings, among them, one of the most terrifying directly destroyed a dynasty and sacrificed all living beings to refine a law treasure, shaking the entire true Saint continent. This angered many Saint ancestors, but no one dared to seek revenge because that was an extremely powerful Saint King. The owner of this city, come out and face me. In the sky, the black demon old man's eyes were cold and indifferent as he shouted, electric heaven and earth. He was reckless. With the help of that treasure, he couldn't detect the presence of any powerful beings in this world. The two strongest individuals, one is the saint of the ninth heaven, and the other is of the fifth heaven. Although they were not bad, he didn't pay them any attention. *X**E, even without using his trump card to unleash the power of a Saint King, he could easily confront and even suppress the combined forces of the five saint of the ninth heaven. Not good. Within Myriad Manifestation City, the Myriad Manifestation's ancient saint secretly lamented. He was already terrified of this black-robed saint. After all, the other party had a terrifying record of killing the saint of the ninth heaven. Could his master be the opponent? Boom! Soon, two figures appeared successively within Myriad Manifestation City, exuding a terrifying saintly aura. Su Jie and the Myriad Manifestation's ancient saint appeared. However, this time, Su Jie did not conceal his face, but revealed himself as an ordinary middle-aged man. Who is that person? Such a powerful aura, at least a top-tier saint, but I've never seen him before. When did Myriad Manifestation City have such a powerful figure? Could it be Su Changsheng in disguise? In Myriad Manifestation City, the strong forces and hidden players were all surprised when they saw Su Jie's face. They had never seen this saint before. Surrender the treasure causing the anomaly, and I will leave. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite and destroying the entire ancient city. The black demon old man stepped forward, looking down at the two people, his tone icy. At the same time, he felt a sense of urgency. He knew that the other hesitant strong individuals were wary of that mysterious and powerful being. If they were to discover that there is no supreme expert, once they charge over, it would be difficult for him to snatch the treasure. Fellow Taoist. Myriad Manifestation's ancient saint cupped his hands and smiled, about to speak, when he heard Su Jie's cold voice from the side. Get lost. In an instant, Myriad Manifestation's ancient saint's smile froze, cold sweat pouring out, and he was on the verge of collapse. Brother, this is the black demon old man, a ruthless person who has killed a saint of the ninth heaven. Even if the two of us join forces, we are no match for him. He can only pray that Su Changsheng will appear soon, and when the three of them gather their strength, they should be able to fight against the opponent. You're seeking death. The black demon old man's face immediately turned cold. He originally only wanted to snatch the treasure and leave, not wanting to start a massacre. But since they were so ignorant of what's good for them, he won't be polite. I will destroy you and turn the entire ancient city upside down. You will know then, the black demon old man's face turned stern, and in the next moment, an aura comparable to a Saint King erupted. That kind of power was far superior to countless saints. In order to snatch the treasure as soon as possible, to avoid any unforeseen circumstances, he no longer cared about hiding his strength. Not good. Myriad Manifestation's ancient saint's face turned pale, almost scared to death. This is actually a freak comparable to a Saint King. Boom! In the next instant, a disc surrounded by demonic light appeared in the black demon old man's hand, emitting a terrifying holy aura. Then, he struck out. The terrifying power engulfed the two of them. At the same time, in the outer space, the so-called outer space is actually above the everlasting heaven realm, with countless galaxies and star seas, like a universe, or rather, this is a world of its own. The so-called heavenly realm is composed of numerous divine realms, countless time and space worlds, dimensions, and countless galaxies and star seas. Forming a vast world, the vastness of the heavenly realm is unknown even to quasi-emperors and supremes. Perhaps only a great emperor would have some understanding. Boom! At this moment, Changsheng stood in the starry sky above the true Saint continent. In his arms, a baby was surrounded by immortal light, absorbing boundless spiritual energy. Galaxies were being devoured one by one, and endless spiritual energy surged forth. On the baby's body, countless rules and orders manifested, revealing the essence of the great Tao. It was born with this extraordinary and heaven-defying power. Looking at the child in his arms, Changsheng's expression was complex. There was joy, emotion, and tenderness. This was his first child. After transmigrating for thousands of years, he finally felt a real connection, as if he had truly integrated into this world and had a sense of family. Ding, congratulations to the host for the birth of the first child. Physique, Myriad Tribulations Indestructible Original Demon Physique, combining immortality and demonic nature. Myriad Tribulations is indestructible, evaluated as an immortal physique, the highest level of aptitude. Ding, you have received a reward. You have obtained the physique, Myriad Tribulations Indestructible Original Demon Physique, combining immortality and demonic nature. Myriad Tribulations is not extinguished. You have also obtained the Heavenly Star Emperor Scripture. Immediately, the voice of the system sounded one after another. Myriad Tribulations Indestructible Original Demon Physique. Immortal Physique Level. What kind of physique is this? Changsheng showed a shocked expression. Over the years, he had often communicated with Guqinga and learned many great secrets, as well as various physiques, but he had never heard of this kind of physique before. There were not many physiques at the immortal physique level, only a few that were known. Even Su Ziyuan, who had obtained the purple gold level fate evaluation solely based on aptitude, had the dual enhancement of two major physiques, but now, his first child actually possessed such a physique. Boom! In the next second, an astonishing aura also erupted from Changsheng's body, exactly the same as the child in his arms. It was terrifying and engulfed boundless spiritual energy. A great transformation began, from the physical body realm, Qi realm, all the way to the Saint realm. Every realm underwent earth-shattering changes. In the past, Changsheng's aptitude was not considered very strong. Although he was a genius in his own realm, he was far from reaching the peak in each realm, let alone breaking through the limits. For example, in the physical body realm, Changsheng only had a strength of 180,000 gene, while Su Ziyuan had a staggering 1 million gene. This is nearly 10 times worse, and the gap in comprehensive qualifications and potential is even hundreds or thousands of times. This is only in the physical body realm, where each realm has such a huge gap. This continues until the Saint realm, although it is the same realm, but qualifications and potential cannot be estimated. Generally speaking, if Changsheng doesn't have an extraordinary opportunity, he can at most reach the Saint King level, while Su Ziyuan is at least an immortal, or even more extraordinary. This is the gap. This is the importance of breaking through the extreme realm and forging an unparalleled immortal foundation. And now, Changsheng has begun his transformation, breaking through to the extreme realm in each realm, perfect and flawless, possessing a foundation that is no different from Su Ziyuan. Coupled with the blessing of the immortal physique, Changsheng's combat power will be even more terrifying. This. Changsheng's face was complex, feeling the surging and terrifying power in his body, a kind of exhilaration that made him want to roar to the sky. Is this the refreshing feeling of cheating? In the past, he envied those geniuses who were born with top qualifications, supreme physique, astonishing backgrounds, destined to stand at the peak. Ordinary people strive for a lifetime, but can only barely reach their starting point. Just like the previous Changsheng, he had worked hard for thousands of years, but he could only reach the semi-saint level and still couldn't become a saint. And those geniuses, like the saint child of the great Sun Saint sect. But now, I can also be considered a man born in Rome. No, it should be born at the pinnacle of Rome. Changsheng smiled. Boom. In the next second, he reached the 9th heaven, stepping into the Saint King level, and even had a feeling that he could step into the realm of the Saint King at any time. It's just a thought. In addition, the various scriptures and profound principles about the Tao in the world, which were originally extremely complicated, now appear so easy in Su Changsheng's eyes, as if they can be grasped in an instant. Is this the heaven-defying immortal physique? Father, father. And at this moment, a tender voice came. Su Changsheng looked over and saw a pair of bright eyes blinking at him, a pair of delicate little hands reaching towards him, and a voice murmuring in a sweet tone, although just born, it already looked like a 2 or 3-year-old child, extremely adorable, with black hair and fair and smooth skin, surrounded by immortal light, emitting chaotic energy, the manifestation of the great Tao's rules. It was astonishing, and it exuded the terrifying aura of a saint in the 9th heaven. Ah! Su Changsheng's eyebrows twitched violently. This little guy could already rival him, his father, as soon as he was born. But thinking about it, it was normal. This was a naturally born immortal physique, and it had absorbed the essence of countless galaxies. It would be strange if it didn't have such cultivation. I can also break through. Su Changsheng sensed his own cultivation, his eyes flickering. Without hesitation, he chose to break through directly. Boom. In the next instant, he broke through and became a Saint King. The so-called bottleneck, in front of Su Changsheng at this moment, was like paper. At this moment, Su Changsheng's gaze condensed. With his current strength, which was countless times stronger than before, with a single thought, he sensed the crisis in the distant True Xian Continent's market city. A powerful enemy is attacking. Immediately, Su Changsheng's face turned cold. Roar. Coincidentally, in the starry sky, terrifying calamitous thunder gathered, and Su Changsheng's Saint King Tribulation descended, covering billions of miles of heaven and earth, enveloping countless stars. I don't have time to waste with you. Su Changsheng swept his gaze. In the next second, he opened his mouth, and an immeasurable swallowing force surged out, swallowing the tribulation in one gulp. Then, with a step, he shifted through the stars and arrived at Myriad Manifestation City. Chapter 56. Su Changsheng is just an ant, the reincarnation of the ancient human king, a new wife and... You are listening at novelfull.audio. Heavenly Desire Sect. This is one of the top-grade forces in the true Saint Continent. However, this sect is not considered powerful, with only one old saint sitting in formation. However, after establishing a relationship with the Scarlet Forging Demon Palace, the status of Heavenly Desire Sect has greatly improved, to the point where even forces like the towering Void Sword Sect dare not easily provoke them. At this moment, in the main hall of Heavenly Desire Sect's headquarters. What's going on? Where is the Saintess? Why hasn't she returned to the sect? A middle-aged woman sat on the main seat, wearing revealing attire. Her icy gaze swept across the people present, and she coldly inquired. She is the sect master of Heavenly Desire Sect, a semi-saint powerhouse. Around her, dozens of elders were seated separately, both male and female, all of them handsome and beautiful, but with a majority of female elders. This sect master, the Saintess, has been in Myriad Manifestation City all this time, and there have been reports about her. Yes, Elder Hua and others have been watching over her. There shouldn't be any accidents. The group of elders looked at each other, somewhat surprised. So, where is she? The sect master of Heavenly Desire Sect raised an eyebrow, a displeased expression appearing on her beautiful face. Now that the Lord has started asking for people, why haven't we seen the Saintess? No accidents. The Saintess hasn't returned to the sect for several years, and that's what you call no accidents, the sect master of Heavenly Desire Sect said coldly, causing the faces of the elders to change and their hearts to tremble. The Lord. They haven't forgotten that the current power and prestige of Heavenly Desire Sect is all thanks to that Lord from the Demon Palace. If something were to happen to the Saintess, once the blame falls on them, and the Lord unleashes his wrath, the entire Heavenly Desire Sect would be destroyed, and they would all be buried together. Moreover, the Saintess of Heavenly Desire Sect hasn't returned to the sect for several years. Although the two elders who have been monitoring the Saintess usually send back reports, how can it prove that nothing is wrong? Perhaps, the Saintess has long since plotted against them. After all, that Saintess possesses a divine body, and her methods and calculations cannot be ignored. When they thought of this, a group of elders broke out in a cold sweat, trembling in fear, afraid of any unexpected incidents. Zong. Zhongzhu, I will contact the Saintess. One elder trembled and said. Hurry up. The Zhongzhu of the Heavenly Desire sect glared, and the aura of a half-saint realm instantly pressed down, causing the elder to tremble even more. Shaking, he took out a communication bead and prepared to contact two other elders. The so-called communication bead is a type of communication law weapon that can transmit messages over thousands or even millions of miles, easily crossing continents. However, even though the elder used the communication bead to contact them for a long time, there was still no response. His panic grew, and cold sweat poured down. Seeing this scene, although the elders did not dare to speak, they were extremely nervous and fearful. Has something happened to the Saintess? The Zhongzhu of the Heavenly Desire sect's face turned cold, her gaze icy. Seeing this scene, her mind gradually sank. Zhongzhu, the Saintess has no news. Something might have happened. The elder's lips were dry as he trembled and spoke. Upon hearing this, the Zhongzhu of the Heavenly Desire sect felt her vision darken, almost falling to the ground. Damn it! What's going on? What are you all doing? In the next moment, her gaze narrowed, her eyes cold, and the terrifying aura of a half-saint realm pressed down on everyone like a towering wave. The many elders present felt their breath stop, sensing an astonishing pressure and feeling fear in their hearts, not only because of the Zhongzhu's anger, but also because of that person's alliance. Once that person gets angry, they will all die. It's all over. Seeing that the many elders couldn't speak, the Zhongzhu of the Heavenly Desire sect's mouth trembled in anger, filled with fear. How is she going to explain to that person? What's over? A calm voice came from the side. The Saintess is missing. The Zhongzhu of the Heavenly Desire sect's face turned pale. She was already restless, and upon hearing these words, she instinctively responded. Who is it? In the next moment, her heart skipped a beat, and she suddenly snapped back to reality. Her gaze immediately became sharp. Who was speaking to her? Boom! Her face turned icy cold, and she slapped her hand forward. Runes of order surrounded her, intending to slap the intruder to death. A hand quickly reached out, even faster than before, and grabbed her face. With a slight squeeze, blood instantly burst forth, followed by a slam onto the ground. Thud. The earth shook, and the entire palace crumbled. All the formations and arrays had just emitted divine light, only to be completely shattered by a destructive force. Pu. Before the group of elders could react, a tremendous residual force rushed towards them, causing each of them to spit out blood and fly backwards like scarecrows. Their bodies kept exploding, bones shattering countless times, almost on the verge of bursting open. Enemies are attacking. Who dares to attack the Heavenly Desire sect? Elders, please take action. In the main headquarters of the Heavenly Desire sect, within numerous peaks and palaces, cultivators were alarmed and appeared in the air one after another, shouting loudly. Not only that, but in the countless palaces of the Lingfeng, divine light was also radiating at this moment. Great formations emerged one after another, accompanied by various terrifying powers, displaying their divine might. Countless runes and arrays intertwined, and thousands of chains of divine order emerged, exuding a terrifying aura. Such power would make an ordinary saint pale in comparison. This was a top-grade force. Even a normal top-grade force like the Heavenly Desire sect had the strength to threaten ordinary saints within their sect's headquarters. Boom! In the next second, within the shattered ruins of the Great Hall, a terrifying aura of a Saint King erupted, far surpassing countless saints. It was like a god descending. Wherever it passed, all the great formations, lingfengs, and palaces were shattered like fallen leaves in the autumn wind, being shattered by the impact. Even the chains of divine order were directly broken. Many cultivators and elders screamed in agony, directly crushed by this oppressive force. The whole land was stained with blood. The entire Heavenly Desire sect has turned into a blood-soaked land at this moment, with countless cultivators and disciples being directly killed by the shockwave, leaving only a group of stronger elders. At this moment, they all have a fearful and extremely terrified expression. Crash! Within the shattered palace, countless rubble flies around, revealing a young man with black horns. At this moment, he is holding the dying Heavenly Desire sect master with a thin gaze. Where is the holy maiden of the Heavenly Desire sect? He softly asks, his tone very calm. The Heavenly Desire sect master's lips tremble, her eyes filled with fear. She wants to speak, but the overwhelming pressure of terror makes it impossible for her to say a word. Her body in the half-saint realm and her primordial spirit are creaking, as if they could explode in the next second. Please, show mercy, my lord. Just at this moment, a trembling elderly voice comes. Not far away, an old woman with white hair appears. Her face is old, and she looks terrified as she says, emitting the aura of a saint, this is the saint ancestor of the Heavenly Desire sect. Where is the holy maiden? The young man with black horns seems to be somewhat taciturn. He only glances at her and says coldly. The holy maiden has been missing for several years. Upon hearing this, the old woman sighs and her wrinkled face twists together. But I left a mark on her, so I can know where she is. And, I can also know that her primordial Een is intact, without any damage that would hinder that person's medical skills. Before the young man with black horns can get angry, the old woman continues to speak in a series. That's good then, the young man with black horns says coldly. Immediately after, he suppresses his imposing aura, then looks at the old woman with cold eyes and continues. Contact the holy maiden and bring her over to me. Yes. But please, master, I beg you to spare our sect leader. The Heavenly Desire sect is already weak, and we cannot afford to lose another semi-saint. The old woman nodded, wearing a bitter smile. Bang! The young man with black horns had a cold expression. He glanced at the terrified woman and casually threw her aside. Seeing this, Tu secretly sighed. The Heavenly Desire sect was already not very strong, and now, after this incident caused by this master, it could be said that it had lost half of its power. Its strength was almost non-existent. But even so, what could they do? Facing a dominant Saint King, the old woman could only swallow her grievances and dare not act out. Buzz. The old woman with white hair made a move, manipulating her techniques to sense the mark she had left on the Heavenly Desire sect saintess. As a saint herself, how could she not value the Heavenly Desire sect saintess? You see, this was someone personally appointed by a high-ranking figure in the Demon Palace, so she naturally couldn't be careless. Therefore, she had left a mark on her early on and could sense some of her situation. Master, the saintess is currently in the Su family in Myriad Manifestation City, and she is relatively safe for now. The old woman with white hair breathed a sigh of relief upon sensing that the Heavenly Desire sect saintess was indeed fine. She quickly reported to the young man with black horns. Myriad Manifestation City, Su family. The young man with black horns muttered to himself, his eyes flickering. Then, he seemed to be ready to leave. Master, the Su family has a longevity saint with great strength. It is said that he killed the black demon and may have a battle power comparable to a Saint King. The old woman with white hair reminded hastily as she saw the young man with black horns about to leave. Although the incident in Myriad Manifestation City half a year ago had been obscured by the Su family's manipulation of information, coupled with the matter of the great saint's secret realm, it did not spread widely and cause a sensation. However, some top-grade forces that paid attention to the Su family, and even some saint ancestors, still learned an unbelievable piece of news. Su Changsheng, who was suspected of killing the black demon, possessed a battle power comparable to a Saint King. Although it was hard to believe, the top-grade forces of the true Saint continent, including the various Saint ancestors, raised their level of vigilance against Su Changsheng and became even more wary. Comparable to a Saint King? Just an ant. Upon hearing this, the young man with black horns stopped in his tracks and muttered to himself before sneering. He was the #1 saint of the Scarlet Forging Demon Palace, having killed a Saint King when he was only at the half-step Saint King level. Now that he was in the realm of Saint Kings, he could easily suppress anyone at the same level, just as Su Changsheng. Just an ant. Boom. After saying this, he took a step forward and his figure disappeared, leaving behind a devastated Heavenly Desire sect. Elder, it's all my fault for not handling things properly. Seeing the young man with black horns disappear, the heavily injured sect master of the Heavenly Desire sect struggled to come forward, bowing his head with a bitter expression. No need to say more. This time, it's not entirely your fault. However, after suffering such a great loss, the Heavenly Desire sect will have to keep a low profile for some time to come. The elderly woman with white hair shook her head and sighed. Elder, should we pass on the news about the Su family to that person? Will Su Changsheng retaliate against us? Retaliate? The elderly woman muttered and then shook her head coldly. You don't understand the terror of the Scarlet Forging Demon Palace. Su Changsheng, a mere saint, may have some strength, but in the eyes of the powerful beings in the Demon Palace, he is just an ant. What if he's comparable to a Saint King? That powerful being in the Demon Palace is a true Saint King, the elderly woman sighed. That's good then, the sect master of the Heavenly Desire sect also breathed a sigh of relief. As long as they didn't pose a threat to the Heavenly Desire sect, it didn't matter whether Su Changsheng lived or died. On the other side, on the edge of the true Saint continent, in a remote ancient land near another continent, stood a massive ancient city. This ancient city was extremely vast, with a staggering number of cultivators and powerful beings coming and going. This was the city of 10,000 Immortals. It is a branch of the 10,000 Dao Immortal Alliance in the true Saint continent, rooted here, attracting countless cultivators to come, and today is the day when the 10,000 Dao Immortal Alliance auction officially begins. Various forces and powerhouses have come, including forces from other continents, beams of divine light, countless divine boats, immortal ships, carriages, war chariots, etc., stepping on the flowing light, with radiant divine light like a rainbow, streaking across the sky, terrifying aura and surging blood energy. The Saint Patriarch of the towering Void Sword sect is here. The Saint of the Celestial Beast Hall. The old saint of the Wang family is also here, so many hidden old antiques, all appearing, in the 10,000 Dao Immortal City, one by one, the previously unattainable and even elusive Saint Patriarchs appeared, often causing exclamations from cultivators. Here, the everlasting realm is everywhere, and semi-saint powerhouses are everywhere. Only saints can be considered top powerhouses. And occasionally Saint Kings descend, their gaze sweeping over, making countless saints from the ancient times tremble in their hearts. Boom! Soon, a building like the Immortal Palace opened, divine light gushing out, thousands of brilliant lights shining, like a fairyland. That is the auction of the 10,000 Dao Immortal Alliance. One by one, the ancient powerhouses, Saint Patriarchs, and powerhouses from top-grade forces from all sides were welcomed in. Lord of the Celestial Beast Hall, please come in. A golden-haired youth descended, with sharp eyes and unparalleled beauty. Several powerhouses followed him, each emitting a terrifying aura, and they were respectfully welcomed in by the maidservants. Powerful individuals descended one after another. There were figures in blood-stained clothes exuding a terrifying bloody smell, old saints with aged faces, and sword Dao saints emitting a sharp sword intent. One by one, the Saint Patriarchs were welcomed in. Soon, Su Changsheng also arrived. He did not show any imposing aura, but descended calmly. Su Changsheng is here. Sure enough, as the newly crowned overlord of the true Saint continent, he will definitely not miss this grand event. It is said that he has only recently become a saint, but his strength is comparable to that of a Saint King. Truly terrifying. Although Su Changsheng descended calmly, he still attracted the attention of many powerhouses. Some powerhouses couldn't help but exclaim after recognizing Su Changsheng. In the current power dynamics, Su Changsheng has already become the new overlord of the true Saint continent. His terrifying power is not far behind that of the extreme beginning sect. In their eyes, the Su family will eventually stand shoulder to shoulder with the extreme beginning sect and become the second overlord. Su family, Changsheng Saint. Please come in, this is your seat, because of your outstanding talent. A beautiful maid who was welcoming suddenly froze, then her eyes emitted a bright color, and she warmly greeted Su Changsheng, who had just arrived, with a strange expression on his face. What's going on? How could a maid from the 10,000 Immortal Alliance be so polite to him? It should be noted that the power of the 10,000 Immortal Alliance is extremely terrifying. Even a maid there would not dare to oppress a saint. It can be said to be quite astonishing, but now, they are unexpectedly enthusiastic towards him. Moreover, his seat is the number 1 room, which is the standard for the top grade in the saint realm. Only strong individuals of the great saint grade are qualified to have it. Buzz. Just as Su Changsheng received the invitation, the powerful individuals who had entered before, such as the golden-haired youth from the Celestial Beast Hall and the figure in blood-red clothes, all cast their gazes towards him. That kind of terrifying pressure would make even a ninth heaven saint unable to help but tremble. Go in. Su Changsheng's expression was calm. This pressure was nothing to him. Seeing this, the two of them showed surprise on their faces, then deeply stared at Su Changsheng before retracting their gazes. Hey! Just as Su Changsheng entered the number 1 room, a familiar greeting sounded. Surprised to see me? Long time no see, do you miss this princess? A petite figure with golden hair appeared, waving at Su Changsheng with a radiant smile. As expected, Su Changsheng said calmly, Ding, detected qualified wives and concubines, the reincarnation of the ancient human king, Yuxin, possesses the physique of the human king's sacred body, purple gold, level destiny, recommend taking a wife. At this moment, the system voice sounded, and Su Changsheng's expression froze. Chapter 57 Wang Yuxin, the great saint makes a move. Is there an immortal in the Myriad Dao Immortal? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ancient king of the primordial era? Su Changsheng's heart trembled, and waves of shock and astonishment surged within him. What kind of existence was this? It must be known that the ancient era was already extremely distant, far beyond billions of years. Just the remnant soul of an imperial concubine was already terrifying, a powerful emperor-grade existence, and now, there was another ancient king of the primordial era. Could it be that this was an unparalleled powerhouse comparable to an immortal? A purple gold-grade destiny, just like Chinga and the others. It seems that I must obtain it. Su Changsheng muttered to himself, however, as his gaze swept through the virtual images reflected in the room, scanning the entire auction venue. He did not find any existence that could be the reincarnation of the ancient king of the primordial era. Su Changsheng frowned. Could it be that they were hiding? Or were they a powerful figure behind the Myriad Dao Immortal Alliance? Hey, Su Changsheng, this princess sincerely invited you to room number 1 of the heavenly character, but you actually ignored this princess. This is really disrespectful. Just then, a somewhat displeased voice interrupted Su Changsheng's contemplation. Su Changsheng raised his eyebrows and saw Princess 9, her delicate and beautiful face showing anger. Her golden pupils shimmered with flowing light as she stared at him, clearly dissatisfied. Not far from her, a group of imperial court powerhouses stood respectfully, silent. And Yi, who had made him wary before, was also looking at Su Changsheng with a surprised and doubtful gaze. He was taken aback. How did she feel that Su Changsheng had become so terrifying, almost catching up to her? Su Changsheng glanced at her, and his heart also trembled. Compared to several years ago, his strength had made tremendous progress, completely on a different level. Not only did he break through to the Saint King realm, but he also possessed the Myriad Tribulations Indestructible Original Demon Physique, as well as the 9 Tribulations Secret Codex and other blessings. He was invincible beneath the Great Saint level. Even a half-step Great Saint could be killed by his hand, but when he looked at the middle-aged woman, he felt that her depth was unfathomable, completely different from what he sensed several years ago, when she was just a Saint King. This was a great saint. This thought arose in Su Changsheng's mind. Apologies, I was thinking about something just now and accidentally delayed the princess. Please forgive me, Your Highness. However, although thoughts were swirling in his mind, Su Changsheng remained calm on the surface and bowed to Princess 9 with an apologetic expression. Indeed, this was his fault, as he had been too focused on the ancient kings and neglected Princess 9. However, the astonishing prompt from the system, prompt 18, had left him somewhat dazed. After all, that was the ancient king. If he were to capture the other party and have a child with her, how wonderful would that be? Never mind, this princess doesn't care about such trivial matters. It's you I'm concerned about. Your strength has improved by leaps and bounds, and this princess suspects that you have been hiding your true power. Princess 9 looked at him with a suspicious gaze. As the 9th princess of the imperial court, her influence in the everlasting imperial court on the true Saint continent was unquestionable. Therefore, she was well aware of the numerous pieces of information about Su Changsheng, including his killing of the black demon old man 6 months ago, demonstrating the strength of a Saint King. Could it be that you have awakened some supreme physique or obtained the inheritance of a great emperor? Princess Nine said, in just a few years, Su Changsheng's strength had skyrocketed so much, this made her very suspicious that Su Changsheng had obtained the inheritance of a certain great emperor, his aptitude had transformed, and he could rival the most outstanding geniuses. Everyone has their own secrets, Princess Nine doesn't need to dig too deep. In the end, I am just Su Changsheng. Su Changsheng smiled and didn't explain, but instead spoke with a profound meaning. Forget it if you don't want to say, Princess Nine muttered discontentedly, then waved her hand and led Su Changsheng to a nearby platform. Room number 1 was very large and extremely luxurious, filled with dense spiritual energy. There were several platforms inside, each emitting colorful lights and surrounded by the essence of the Tao. As soon as Su Changsheng sat down, his expression changed, feeling various insights surging into his mind. He unexpectedly gained some understanding of the doubts he had about cultivation. This shook him. You should know that he now possessed the immortal physique, and his comprehension was astonishing. Even the effect of the enlightenment pill was not significant anymore, but now, this platform was actually giving him some small assistance, although it wasn't much, it was already incredible. This Tao platform. Su Changsheng's gaze fell on the Tao platform, feeling very surprised. Surprised, huh? This is the benefit of being in the number 1 room of the heavenly character house. These Tao platforms are helpful for cultivators below the quasi-emperor level. Sitting on them for 3 to 5 years is equivalent to a small enlightenment. Princess Nine said with some pride. It is indeed surprising. The 10,000 Tao Immortal Alliance truly has immeasurable depth. Su Changsheng shook his head. These Tao platforms could become treasures that dominate sects like the Extreme Beginning sect, possessing profound foundations. But here in the 10,000 Tao Immortal Alliance, they were just casually placed in a branch, and there were so many of them. The 10,000 Tao Immortal Alliance places such precious Tao platforms in a small branch. Aren't they afraid of trouble? Su Changsheng asked with some doubt. After all, no matter how strong the 10,000 Tao Immortal Alliance was, a small continent branch couldn't be too outrageous. There might not even be a great saint overseeing it. Such precious treasures could easily attract the attention of great saints. You don't understand. As long as they are powerful experts at the great saint realm, they won't be foolish enough to attack the 10,000 Tao Immortal Alliance. And those below the great saint level are nothing more than ants, completely unable to threaten us. Princess Nine shook her head. Then she continued to explain, the 10,000 Tao Immortal Alliance's foundation is terrifying. Its current power was truly earned through bloodshed. In the past, there were indeed strong individuals who attacked branches of the 10,000 Tao Immortal Alliance, but all of them died, cursed to death by the 10,000 Tao Immortal Alliance's strongest experts using the power of causality. Even, a great emperor was slain. At the end, Princess Nine hesitated for a moment before sighing and revealing the truth. A rare expression of awe appeared on her delicate face. Slain a great emperor. Su Changsheng gasped. Not only him, but also the group of imperial court experts behind Princess Nine were shocked. It was the first time they had heard of such a thing. Only Angie remained calm, as if she had known about it long ago, appearing very composed. This world is vast. In the Xianhuang Great World, there are many heavenly realms. The Everlasting Heaven Realm is just one of them, and the Imperial Court is only one of the overlords of the Everlasting Heaven Realm. Princess Nine's delicate face was filled with awe, her tone solemn as she continued. But the 10,000 Tao Immortal Alliance spans the entire Great World, and even, this is the true overlord, with a terrifying and boundless foundation. Even great emperors cannot afford to provoke them. Why does the 10,000 Immortal Alliance dare to use immortal in its name? There is a reason for this. Hearing this, Su Changsheng finally understood. Why would Princess Nine say that no one dares to attack the 10,000 Immortal Alliance, even if it's just a branch? Because the 10,000 Immortal Alliance has real immortals. With a supreme immortal who can even kill a great emperor, which powerful individual would dare to seek trouble without knowing their own life and death? The strong in the Great Saint realm already have the qualifications to touch some of the great secrets between heaven and earth, therefore, these strong individuals at this level are aware of the terror of the 10,000 Immortal Alliance, so they never provoke it. Su Changsheng also became more aware of how deep the waters of this world truly are. Alright, it's useless to talk about these things now. We are still too far away from each other. It's better to say that the Imperial Court is already an insurmountable peak of the Great Tao. Princess Nine waved her hand. If you want to consider the 10,000 Immortal Alliance, it's better to wait until you become a quasi-emperor. Only at that level will you have the qualifications to come into contact with what is happening now, barely considered a figure. Quasi-emperor. Su Changsheng raised an eyebrow. He had just broken through to the Saint King realm, still far from breaking through to quasi-emperor. It seems that he still has a long way to go before becoming a true powerhouse. Decided, after going back, he will marry more wives and have more children. Great Emperor. Immortal. As long as he has enough children, he will eventually be able to defeat all of them. Clap, clap. At this moment, Princess Nine reached out and clapped her hands. Outside the room, beautiful maidservants entered one by one, carrying various spiritual fruits, spiritual tea, and even various divine brews, placing them down one by one. Don't be polite, eat as you please. Princess Nine smiled charmingly and waved her hand generously. Su Changsheng just glanced at them, and his eyebrows raised. These spiritual fruits and divine brews were all of extremely high grade. The rich and abundant spiritual energy was overflowing, with fragments of the great Tao swirling around, making people drool. Just these spiritual fruits and divine brews alone could bankrupt some saints. This is the world of the nouveau riche. Su Changsheng sighed in his heart, not polite at all, and leisurely started eating. Before his cultivation, his greatest loves were food and beauty. Now that he had beauty, he could also try the food. In one's lifetime, one cannot abandon food and beauty. Time passed, while Su Changsheng chatted with Princess Joey. He also waited for the auction to begin. At the same time, his gaze constantly scanned, searching for the reincarnation of the ancient king. During this period, powerful individuals continuously arrived at the auction, each exuding a terrifying aura. The majestic and bloodthirsty Saint Patriarch was welcomed in. However, the rooms they entered were far less luxurious than Su Changsheng's. Dong. Finally, accompanied by the sound of a gavel, containing the essence of the Tao, it instantly spread throughout the entire auction. All the powerful individuals trembled in their hearts, including Su Changsheng, and their gazes swept over. Welcome, esteemed guests, to this auction hosted by the 10,000 Tao Immortal Alliance. I now announce that the auction has officially begun. Soon, a kind-faced old man took the stage and bowed to the many powerful individuals in the audience. Saint King. In room number 1, Su Changsheng raised an eyebrow. Recognizing the strength of the old man presiding over the auction, he now had a clearer understanding of the foundation of the 10,000 Tao Immortal Alliance. No wonder they could be so aloof and untouchable. Now, let's officially begin the auction for the first item, a Saint King weapon. The old man clapped his hands, and soon, a maid brought up a law treasure enveloped in holy light and filled with a rule-like aura. The starting price is 1 billion gene of origin, with each bid increasing by 10 million. The old man announced, 1 billion gene of origin. Su Changsheng shook his head inwardly. This was comparable to a top-grade origin mine. It would probably only take about twice the resources of a top-grade power to exhaust their reserves. However, for some loners or those with powerful backgrounds like top-grade saints or half-step Saint Kings, they can also accept it. Each gaze was filled with excitement. A Saint King weapon can greatly enhance their combat power. Even Saint Kings would be tempted. I bid 1.05 billion. I bid 1.08 billion. Plus -1Z. Soon, the eager powerful individuals began to make their moves, all of them being saint ancestors from different factions, possessing formidable strength. Aren't you going to bid? You just recently broke through to Saint King, so you should be lacking weapons, right? Princess Nine said with a smile. I don't need it. Su Changsheng shook his head, not surprised that Princess Nine knew about his breakthrough. After all, that auntie was likely a great saint and it wasn't strange for her to discern his realm. He didn't need the so-called Saint King weapon either. For the current Su Changsheng, if he wanted to enhance his strength, he would need at least a great saint weapon, or even a quasi-emperor weapon. Soon, the Saint King weapon was auctioned off, bought by a half-step Saint King top-grade expert, who spent 3.8 billion gene of resources. Equivalent to the entire foundation of a top-grade faction. Su Changsheng shook his head inwardly. It was too extravagant. It was correct for him not to attend before. Otherwise, he would definitely be devastated. Next, one item after another was presented for auction, none of them inferior to the Saint King weapon, and some were even more heaven-defying. Among them, a damaged Great Saint weapon appeared, causing a frenzy among the powerful individuals, all vying for it, including the golden-haired youth from the Celestial Beast Hall and the blood-clothed figure from the Heavenly Organization. Their gazes were burning. A damaged Great Saint weapon can greatly enhance their combat power, allowing them to kill enemies across realms and contend against top-grade experts at the 7th or 8th heaven of Saint King. Under the competition of the crowd, the price of the Great Saint weapon kept soaring, directly reaching 3.8 billion gene of resources. 5 billion. However, just as the competition between the blonde youth and the blood-clothed figure became intense, a lazy voice sounded, instantly causing everyone to fall silent and their faces to be filled with shock. 50 billion. Boom! The blonde youth and the blood-clothed youth immediately turned their gazes, filled with murderous intent and a terrifying killing intent. The killing intent of the two Saint Kings was enough to deter a peak saint. Outrageous! A cold shout resounded, accompanied by the aura of a powerful saint, like a heavenly thunder striking down, causing chaos to explode and directly making both of them pale, coughing up blood from their mouths and noses. A look of horror appeared in their eyes. Strange. Both of them felt a chill in their hearts, and when they looked with their gazes, their pupils suddenly contracted. It was room number 943, Princess 9. Both of them instantly understood. The one who had just made the bid was actually Princess 9, their next target. And unfortunately for them, they accidentally provoked the Guardian by Princess 9's side. Both of them broke out in a cold sweat, almost causing a big problem. Respected guests, no interference is allowed in the auction. At this moment, on the auction stage, the old man said indifferently, his tone carrying a hint of warning. Even in the face of a great saint, he showed no signs of awe. I'm just retaliating. It shouldn't be considered breaking the rules, right? A gentle voice came from room number 943, it was Aunt Yi. There won't be a next time. That the old man's gaze swept over the blonde youth and the blood-clothed figure, his tone cold. Yes. In the room, both of them felt a chill in their hearts, knowing the terrifying power of the 10,000 Dao Immortal Alliance. They didn't dare to argue. On the auction floor, the powerhouses from various forces, one by one, from the everlasting realm to the semi-saints, and even the various saint ancestors, were all shocked. They didn't expect that a broken great saint weapon would actually attract the intervention of a great saint. A great saint. This is a person who can overlook many continents and is considered a giant in a divine realm. They are truly lucky to witness the appearance of such an existence today. Princess 9, you shouldn't lack many treasures, let alone a broken great saint weapon. In room number 1, Su Changsheng glanced at the calm middle-aged woman, then turned his gaze to Princess 9. Of course, this princess doesn't need it, nor do I have any use for it. But this is not for me, it's for you. Princess 9 smiled slightly in response to Su Changsheng's words. For me? I can't afford it. Su Changsheng was surprised and shook his head. Although he could afford 5 billion gene, the price was too high and not worth it for him to do so. Who said you have to buy it? This princess is giving it to you. Princess 9 looked at Su Changsheng strangely, then generously said. Upon hearing this, not only Su Changsheng, but also the other powerful figures in the room looked at Su Changsheng with complex expressions, feeling extremely envious. Am I being kept? Su Changsheng also felt a bit strange. This is a great saint weapon worth 5 billion gene of origin, and it's being given to him just like that? What a spendthrift. In that case, thank you, Princess 9, for your kindness. Su Changsheng smiled, his eyes filled with emotion as he looked at Princess 9. She really is a rich woman with too much money. What kind of look is that? Princess 9's expression turned displeased, sensing that something was off. Just an illusion. Su Changsheng calmly replied, clap. Next up for auction is a special item. A stunning woman with the bloodline of a person king, that the voice of the old man on the auction stage came, causing Su Changsheng's gaze to freeze as he looked over. Chapter 59 Master, Demon King, Lord of the Demon Palace, what are you talking about? It's over. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In this ancient land, all the strong ones have entered, including the old saint of the Wang family, and so on. The land is empty, only a pair of blood-red eyes open, overlooking everything from the boundless void. Boom. At this moment, at the end of the sky, terrifying auras descend. In the magnificent golden light, a golden-haired youth lands. He emits a divine light all over his body, with his golden hair scattered and his pupils like two suns. There are flickering runes in them, burning with blazing true fire. Senior, that the golden-haired youth bows respectfully towards the deep void, where the pair of blood-red eyes are. That is a great saint, a towering figure who even with his noble status, dare not act recklessly. The descendant of the golden-winged Peng clan, with such pure bloodline, almost pure-blooded. I didn't expect that old guy to actually send you out. That the owner of the pair of blood-red eyes in the boundless void speaks with an indifferent tone. The golden-winged Peng clan is an extremely powerful and terrifying race. Its descendants are known as the ones who can slaughter gods, behead divine bodies of the same level, and are close to pure-blooded golden-winged Peng clan, comparable to top divine bodies. This is a monstrous genius with the qualifications of a great saint. Even in the heavenly realm, he is the most elite divine child, to be fully nurtured. It's just hunting down a non-saint junior. Father treats it as my training, making a big fuss out of it. That the golden-haired youth says with a faint smile. Behind him, figure after figure appears, all emitting terrifying auras. Each and every one of them is a saint. However, they are not of the human race, and they all have traces of the beast race to varying degrees. Boom! On the other side, a boundless surge of blood rushes over, killing intent like the sea. A figure in a blood-colored robe walks slowly as if stepping on a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood. Seeing the other party, the golden-haired youth's pupils shrink slightly, and a sense of seriousness surges in his heart. The other party is very formidable. Even though he is confident in his own strength, he dare not underestimate the slightest bit. Greetings, Lord Sovereign. That the blood-colored figure descends and then bows, its face unclear, only a hoarse voice. On the 20th, you will join forces with the 21st and the others to hunt down the 9th princess. Remember, don't treat her as a junior. She is more terrifying than you can imagine. That the owner of those blood-red eyes warned. Yes. Upon hearing this, the figure in blood-red clothes, though unable to see their face, intensified the colors in their eyes. Very important. Boom! 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 In the boundless void, vague figures appeared one after another, each emitting a mysterious and unpredictable aura. They were all assassins from the heavenly kingdom. Among them, the leading figure in black was the most powerful, only slightly inferior to the figure in blood-red clothes. On the other side, the expression of the golden-haired youth finally changed. Looking at so many assassins from the heavenly kingdom, he felt fear and a chilling sensation creeping into his heart. Assassins from the heavenly kingdom were already extremely dangerous and terrifying. Now, there were also 2 saint kings and 7 or 8 top-tier assassin saints. Such a terrifying lineup. Even if he was confident, he wouldn't dare to claim that he could fight against them, or even escape from them. Truly formidable, the heavenly kingdom. The golden-haired youth sighed inwardly, understanding at the same time that the heavenly kingdom should not be easily offended. What about the people from the demon palace? That at this moment, the blood-red eyes looked over, but they didn't see any strong individuals from the Scarlet forging demon palace, and their tone became somewhat displeased. Don't worry, they will come. A calm voice came, and the silent void cracked open. A blurry figure walked out, with black long hair, a tall stature, and hands behind their back, as if stepping on an ancient demonic mountain. An overwhelming and terrifying aura circulated, not erupting, but still exerting heavy pressure on everyone present. Old demon, if we join forces with that old guy, the 3 of us should be able to stop the guardian and force the 9th princess to reveal some of her trump cards. The blood-red eyes looked over, showing a solemn expression for the first time, and spoke. I am here too. In the distant endless sky, a golden figure came whistling, crossing thousands of spatial distances in an instant, descending here, radiating a divine might like the sun, as if an ancient divine king had descended upon the world. Father, seeing that figure, the blonde youth showed a look of joy. It was indeed his father, the lord of the heavenly palace, the heavenly Azure King. The heavenly Azure King stood with his hands behind his back, golden light surging, divine fire swirling around him, like a deity. He only glanced at him lightly, with incomparable majesty. That person has already set up a killing game. If we join forces, we only need to suppress that guardian, he said in a low voice. The rest is up to you. You don't necessarily have to kill her, disabling her is enough. He swept his gaze over everyone and said lightly. Let's go. As soon as the words fell, the heavenly Azure King, the Scarlet Forging Demon Palace Master, and the Lord of the Heavenly Kingdom, the three great saints, joined forces and went straight into the secret realm. They didn't conceal their own aura, they just walked in grandly, exuding the aura of great saints. Princess Joding of the Imperial Court, hunting such distinguished figures, truly makes one look forward to it. Seeing the three great saints enter, the figure in blood-colored clothes couldn't help but sneer. In the blood-colored pupils, a cruel killing intent flickered, horrifying. The people from the demon palace haven't arrived yet, we have to wait. The blonde youth stood with his hands behind his back, his heart surging with excitement. That's the imperial princess, how noble her identity is, but today she will fall into their hands. Thinking of this, the blonde youth felt his blood boiling throughout his body. On the other side, Changsheng walked on the ground, step by step towards Myriad Manifestation City with Yuxin, although it was a leisurely stroll. Every step covered thousands of miles. Changsheng had no interest in the opportunity of the great saint's secret realm, but for some reason, his brow had been twitching since he returned, faintly feeling a sense of unease. It wasn't directed at himself, but the members of the Su family, as well as Guchinga and others, were all safe and sound. There were no signs of trouble. Why would there be such a strange feeling? Could it be an illusion? You seem a bit anxious. Just as Changsheng was contemplating in his heart, Yuxin, who had been following him all along, spoke up in a calm tone. Can you tell? Changsheng looked at her in surprise, his expression somewhat bewildered. Did he not show it? Could it be that this is the power of the ancient king Reincarnation? Well, my divine perception is strong, and I can sense the inner emotions of some people. Yuxin said softly, this ability is quite impressive. You see, his cultivation is far above Yuxin's. He is a saint king, but Yuxin can still sense his emotions. That's quite amazing. So, can you sense what I'm thinking now? At this moment, Changsheng's mouth slightly curved up, thinking of something. He stopped in his tracks, his eyes flickering with a certain color, staring at Yuxin and said. I should be able to. You, shameless. Yuxin subconsciously paused, nodded slightly, and began to sense it. But the next second, her pretty face turned red, and her eyes were embarrassed. That feeling, he actually wanted to. Indeed, not bad, but this ability of yours can only be used on me in the future, not on anyone else. Seeing that it was indeed effective, Changsheng nodded in satisfaction. How do you want to deal with me? My body is untouchable by outsiders, let alone you. Even great saints and quasi-emperors can't do it. Yuxin's face blushed, feeling embarrassed in her heart, but she quickly calmed down, looking at Changsheng with a calm gaze and said coldly. If you want to use the power of my bloodline to open the inheritance of the human king's palace, then you can forget about it. That's impossible. Her body contains a mysterious power. All living beings with ill intentions towards her are unable to directly touch her body. Of course, that's all there is to it. If a powerful being directly imprisons space and takes her away along with the earth and space, then there is no way. That's exactly how she was taken away. Who said I want to take you to obtain the inheritance of the human king's palace? That kind of thing requires the blood sacrifice of the human king's bloodline. Rest assured, I'm not that foolish. Changsheng laughed and shook his head. When he discussed with the ninth princess earlier, he also understood the tragedy of the royal bloodline. Once it appears, it will be hunted and pursued. To obtain the various inheritances of the royal palace, blood sacrifice of the royal bloodline is required. It must be said that this method is very cruel, but in this cruel fantasy world, such things are too common. Changsheng naturally wouldn't do such a thing. The person in front of him is the reincarnation of the ancient royal king, she herself is the most precious treasure, how can he not have 10 or 8 children with her? Why, isn't the inheritance of the royal palace the most precious? Yuxin was stunned. Although she could sense that Changsheng was thinking of something embarrassing, she was still shocked to hear this. You are more precious than any inheritance of the royal palace. Changsheng raised his hand and gently touched her cheek, teasingly, in Yuxin's shocked gaze. What I want is you are my future wife, but you have to give birth to children for me. What? Yuxin was completely stunned. Why can the other party touch oneself? And, giving birth? Yuxin can't imagine what it's like to be pregnant, it's not even in her consideration. This is the power of immortal physique. Changsheng's expression was calm, but he was secretly amazed. Before touching, he sensed an inexplicable repelling force, but with the power of Myriad Tribulations' indestructible original demon physique, he suppressed this force. You spent 3 billion gene of resources, just for me? Just to make me have a child? Yuxin was a bit confused. She had paid a sky-high price of 3 billion, if exchanged for an equivalent amount of resources, it would be enough to cultivate a saint king, spending so many resources just to make her have a child. She couldn't understand. You only need to know about this matter, don't worry about anything else. After you go back, we can get married. Changsheng smiled faintly. Furthermore, there are also the Purple Moon Empress and Mtlnovel. Let's have the 3 of them get married together. This seems to be the first time, right? Just thinking about it is quite exciting. You're too crazy. Yuxin's voice was urgent, her eyes shocked as she looked at Changsheng. She had lived for so many years, but this was the first time she had seen such a strange person. Let's go back. Changsheng chuckled lightly, then turned around with Yuxin and walked in the opposite direction. Why are you going back? Seeing this, Yuxin, who was still a bit confused, was startled again. It seems that there is a guest who doesn't want us to leave. Changsheng didn't reply, but instead looked calmly in the other direction. There, a young man with black horns was walking slowly, exuding an extremely terrifying aura. The void creaked and cracked like broken porcelain under the young man's aura. Inch by inch, a pair of indifferent eyes were staring at him. I didn't expect it to be so coincidental. Your luck is really bad. I originally wanted to deal with that princess first, but unexpectedly ran into you, Changsheng. The young man with black horns spoke softly. Princess? Changsheng narrowed his eyes. The saintess of the Heavenly Desire sect, is she following you? The young man with black horns continued to ask. That's right. Changsheng nodded lightly. He already knew the identity of the person who had come. It seems that you have touched someone you shouldn't have. In that case, I'll just take your head and then go kill that princess. The young man with black horns extended a palm, spreading his 5 fingers as if to envelop the heavens and the earth, covering everything. Between his fingertips, terrifying black energy lingered, like a world-devouring monster. Which princess are you talking about? Changsheng calmly asked, seemingly unaffected by the power of that palm. Of course, it's the 9th princess of the imperial court. With your status, you can't even touch that level. Just go and die, the black-horned youth said indifferently. Boom. The giant palm descended, and a boundless black aura swept over, transforming into a towering and endless hand that covered everything. Within it, the black aura roared like black dragons. The law of destruction was raging, displaying its ultimate power. With a loud bang, all the space shattered, and the entire area was annihilated. Waves of destructive power boiled. It's over. The black-horned youth retracted his hand, a hint of disappointment in his eyes. This is supposed to be comparable to a saint king. So weak, it's only equivalent to an ordinary saint 9th heaven. He sighed lightly. His previous palm had severely injured a saint king, but it was not enough to kill someone of that level. He thought Changsheng would be able to withstand that palm and fight him for several rounds, but obviously, he was disappointed. Su Changsheng simply didn't have that kind of strength, obviously. The so-called combat power comparable to a Saint King was just an exaggeration, but it didn't matter. His body should still be intact. Next, he would take his head. What do you mean by, it's over? Su Changsheng's voice suddenly sounded in his ears. What? The black-horned youth looked up in horror, and a chill surged up. A fair palm appeared right in front of his eyes, boom. The Great Saint's secret realm, although it was a secret realm, it was actually an incredibly vast small world, or rather, a plane. It was comparable to the combination of 2 or 3 continents, with a starry sky in the outer domain, adorned with numerous star domains, illuminating the sky, boom. At this moment, in a vast ancient land, terrifying killing formations erupted in the continuous palaces. Chaotic energy surged, and various overwhelming sword auras tore through the earth, tearing apart the 10 heavy palaces. Collapse. Commercial district. Damn it, this is not an opportunity at all, it's a massacre. Somebody has set up a killing formation, they are hunting us. Within the formation, powerful individuals from various forces, from everlasting realm, semi-saint, to the lofty saint ancestors, and even saint kings, all had expressions of fear as they were continuously killed by the terrifying sword aura. At this moment, they finally realized that this was not an opportunity, not a secret realm, but a catastrophic massacre, a hell. A group of insignificant ants, you are nothing but food, caught in the crossfire, yet you dare to think we are plotting against you. Outside the formation, a red-robed old man sneered. He controlled the formation, exuding a terrifying aura, manipulating the formation to hunt down the powerful individuals. Bastard! On the other side, the 9th princess was also trapped within, but her expression remained unchanged, calm, only seething with anger in her heart. Someone actually dared to plot against her. In an instant, she thought of several figures, among which one possibility was the highest. Could it be him? No, it must be him. A murderous intent surged in the 9th princess's eyes, wishing to roar to the sky and return to the imperial court to confront him. Beside her, a group of imperial court saints were struggling to resist the formation. Aunt Yi, the first to erupt with the aura of a vast great saint, her gaze shifting like a supreme deity. Princess, I will escort you out, she lightly shouted. Her voice was like the sound of the great Tao, shaking the heavens and the earth, shattering countless chains of divine order, even causing the formation to tremble violently. It's a powerful great saint. Great, we have a great saint among us, we have hope this time. Elder, please save us. All the trapped powerful individuals showed expressions of joy at this moment. Aunt Ye's expression was indifferent, paying no attention. She only wanted to quickly escort the princess away. At this moment, a sigh sounded.